Okay, so today's video will be on how to put a car in first gear, a manual car. So first things first, let's get into the car and get to know the pedals. So at the very bottom, in a manual car, you will have 3 pedals. The one on the very left being the clutch, the one in the middle always being the brake, and the one on the right being the accelerator. Now, you want to make sure, you want to get to know them and make sure you're stepping on the right one. For your car is in neutral, you want to make sure that your handbrake is pulled. If you have an electronic handbrake, you can activate that too. So we're going to start the engine, but in most cars, modern cars, you're going to have to step on the brake and the clutch at the same time. So as if we come down here, as we learned before, I'm going to press the brake all the way and the clutch as well all the way in. You want to make sure you don't go halfway through like so. You want to go all the way as far as you can until it touches the ground. And then after that, once you press the brake, the clutch all the way in, you make sure it's in neutral. You make sure you have your handbrake or e-brake pulled all the way. You want to click to start the car. In this case, we have an electronic start key. We press this, and it turns on. Now, since the car has an e-brake and it is in neutral, we can release both the brake and the clutch. So we let go, and we let go. The car is running, and we made sure it's in neutral. I want you to put your foot on the clutch, push it in, and back out. I want you to really get a feel for it. Also, one other tip I have for you is to try and keep your heel on the ground, especially when you're releasing the clutch, which we will get to that. But move it in and out to get a feel for what the clutch feels like. Remember, the clutch is the one on the very left. Now, before we put the car into first gear, I really want to stress that you have your AC turned off. This really takes power from the engine, and especially if you're starting it for the first time, it's really going to help. So we're going to go and click off. Now, one thing that I want to stress is that when you're letting go off the clutch for the first time, you want to do it slowly, as I will show you now. So first, let's put it into first gear. In most European cars, first gear will be on the top left. So in our case, some other cars have different models. So the easiest way to know where your first gear is, you look at the top of the manual shift transmission, and you'll see a 1. So you go to the left and up, all the way to the top. That's your first gear. Say, for example, you wanted to go in second gear, or let's say reverse. The reverse is on the very bottom right, so we go all the way to the bottom and all the way to the right down there. But in this case, we're going to go into the first gear. So we're going to go into left and up. That's our first gear. Now, once we're in first gear, we have our brake pressed, our clutch all the way in, and our e-brake or handbrake activated. We're going to take off the handbrake or the e-brake. We are going to let go of our brake, but keep the foot close, just in case, and our clutch. Now, I'm going to release the clutch ever so slightly. I am barely going to go quick. This is so that the car doesn't bog down. We don't stall the car. So, I'm going very slowly, and soon I'll feel a car that's going to start to move. And that's how we get moving. Now, trust me, my first time when I was driving manual, it wasn't easy. I kept stalling the car. But if you don't know what stalling the car is, it's when you release when you're in first gear, and when you release the clutch too quickly. An example of this would be, I released the clutch too quickly, and the engine turned off. My revolutions went down to 0, and I have to press the clutch all the way in, hold the brake, go into neutral, and turn the engine back on. What I've basically done is I've released the clutch so quickly, the car engine hasn't had enough power to bring the revolutions of the wheels up to speed, therefore has bogged down. To save the car from bogging down, what you can do is you can press the clutch. So if you feel your revolutions are coming down, all you have to do is you press that clutch in back in again, and your car won't stall. One more example of how to get it started. So remember, first gear, handbrake is off. I let go of the clutch very slowly until I feel the car starts to move. I give it some gas so the car doesn't bog down, and we're moving in first gear. Now to stop it, you want to make sure that you press the clutch in when you stop the car. So to stop the car, I'm going to press my clutch in all the way and then apply some brake. If you don't press the clutch in, your car will stall like I showed before.